담기 독지 샥지르소 총 연진메도 뇌제 본점바 서지 룸보다브르 지베고 샥지 잘베 샴라 찬살로 I was requested to elaborate how to make life meaningful. What you need to pursue in this life. So, this is a very basic thing. It is very interesting for all of us that we have to talk about how to make our life meaningful. Don't you think we all wanted to make our life meaningful? And we should know how to make our life meaningful. Anyway, in many ways, we wanted to make our life truly meaningful with its full capacity of the definition of life. You can say capacity or potential. Now, keeping that in mind, and also as a Buddhist, follower of Lord Buddha, how to make this life meaningful with the principle of the Lord Buddha's teaching, which is not so much different from common sense. Okay. Now, in a person's life, I personally experience there is three things very important. One is how you feel about yourself, and second is how others feel about yourself. That is true. And the third is how you deal with yourself and others. So these three is very basic. When I say others, I'm talking about human beings, of course, and from time to time with other creatures also. For example, if you are in the wilderness by yourself, you have to deal with how you feel about them and how they feel about you. And you have to know how to deal with that. So keep that aside, but now with other humans. In human life, when it comes to being with other humans, just yourself in somewhere in the cave or somewhere in the middle of the desert or middle of the ocean or anywhere just by yourself, then that's one thing. But once you involve with other human beings, then very, very important thing is your integrity. That is very important. If you don't have integrity through your deeds, or you have no idea about integrity whatsoever, then problem is inevitable. First of all, nobody will trust you. Integrity is defined by trust. And if you lost trust of others, it is very difficult to again develop that trust. So, we have perceived trust before meeting somebody. We know about that person, and we have some kind of idea of that person's integrity, and we go with that. And there's another, that is, the person have to earn our trust, and we have to earn their trust. And if that is not there, then everything have to be a struggle. Integrity as a human being is extremely important. I think from the beginning of the stage of Homo sapien, long time back, I think this has developed. And based on that, friendship, leadership, family has developed. And interdependent is always the case, in that the integrity is the base of the good, positive interdependency between human beings. Whether you are a disciple in this case, or whether you are a guru in this case, or whether you are just a person who's supposed to know how to tell you something, and with that expectation you are listening, that something is meaningful there. In this interdependent manifestation, that you can receive and learn from this encounter. It depends on who is listening and who is communicating or being communicated. Now, in this, I sincerely believe that everybody, if, of course, we all wanted to have a meaningful, good life, positive life, then you should be trustworthy. You should have integrity. Very important. And now the best of that comes out of the commonality, not the differences, the commonality. And the commonality between all sentient beings. But as I told you earlier, we are talking between humans. We all like to be happy. None of us like to suffer. That is common. And commonality of that is there, naturally. Nobody have to teach us. Our definition of happiness might be different, but deep in the core of that, whatever we think about happiness and how we perceive, but essence is a good feeling. I'm happy. I feel good. I feel comfortable. I don't feel fear. I don't feel anger. I don't feel some sort of insecurity. I feel secure. I feel nice, pleasant. So that is the feeling of happiness. Now, as follower of Lord Buddha, we should have compassion towards others. We should be less selfish as possible. We should be selfless as possible. We should at least take others' well-being as in the same level as our own well-being. Not me first, if we cannot be you first, but we together. Actually, as a Mahayana and Vajrayana Buddhist, and Buddhist in general, we should be you first. If we can't, then no point brainwashing ourselves at this stage. So we together, at least. And we should mean it through our action, regardless whether we say it or not, but we should mean it. We should live according to that. We should use our body, speech, mind, capacity in that direction. Then integrity is there. That is the integrity. And we will trust that kind of people. Of course, if somebody is pretending, if we are pretending, then that trust will be broken one day. And then it cannot be fixed easily. It will take actually years and years. Once somebody trusted you and they lost trust in you, then it will take long time, a mammoth task to regain the lost trust and lost integrity. So that is very important. So as you say, how to make life meaningful. So be a reliable person. Be a kind person. Be a person with integrity. Be a person who is not me first, but we together. And if you first, if you can be, that's wonderful. But then, if we are you first today, and tomorrow we together, and day after tomorrow me first, then there's no integrity. Now, so that is very basic, the first thing. Now, I must go through some basic tenets and principles of teaching. So I felt the Punsum Tsopa Deji, or sublime, abundant completeness. So that is, first of all, first, Dharma, sublime Dharma. That means it should make us reach higher and exalted state, and truly and evidently deliverance of goodness. So the Dharma by definition is worldly Dharma, and then supreme Dharma. Both is Dharma. Supreme Dharma is following the teaching of Buddha, first to attain nirvana, then to attain Buddhahood. But worldly Dharma is to have this life meaningful and next life also meaningful as a result of that. Deliverance of goodness. Everything that you do, it should deliver goodness, manifest goodness, positiveness, harmony. The second is sublime wealth or abundance. So that is, you should be able to resonate true integrity, as I mentioned earlier. And at the same time, you should be not lacking the sensitivity as well as durability at the same time. Because if you are sensitive, that's good. But if you don't have durability, then you will be just emotional. And if you have durability but no sensitivity, then you will be cold-hearted. So it should be both balanced. And as a result of this, then we will have abundantness in our life, in a sense of being admirable, respectable, and also with integrity and true trust, respect, veneration should manifest from others to us and due to from us to others. Now the third is sublime wish fulfilling. So it is temporary. Long as we have a wishful filling, then we have to have a wish, and that is temporary, relative. We cannot have ultimate wish because that is already past. When we have the wish, and when we are pursuing it, that is the present, and when some part of that is fulfilled, that is future, come into present, and it will go on and on. And so, now here, wish fulfilling should be truly understood based on contentment. Because if we have the contentment, then health, wealth, any kind of wish, and also livelihood, if we have the contentment with the minimum, then we can handle the maximum. If we don't have the contentment of minimum, we cannot handle the maximum. Then, the fourth, sublime liberation. The sublime liberation is not like the previous one, but this is ultimate, final, not temporary and relative. So, how do we gradually attain that destination? First, we have to overcome all the possibilities of lower condition. That is, if we overcome greed, hatred, jealousy, ego pride, and above all, the self-centeredness, then we overcome the lower condition. Those will manifest as a lower condition. And finally, pure Buddhist terminology, we overcome the cyclic existence of samsara. Or cyclic existence means samsara, translation of each other, sort of. So that means we don't go in circle. We learn, we forget, we learn, we forget, we improve, and we degenerate, we improve and degenerate. Then that is cyclic existence. We have to overcome that. We have to become the embodiment of the true wisdom and true compassion. And in Mahayana teaching, that is spelled out as ultimate emptiness, ultimate bodhicitta. So, relative bodhicitta, for example, is having compassion to somebody who is less fortunate than us. But that should lead to somebody equally fortunate to us. Then having compassion to all, regardless of whether they are less fortunate or more fortunate or equal to us in all levels. Knowledge, wisdom, wealth, power, regardless. So that way it will progress further. And then, now, in going in this direction, why I and many of us and many millions out there are struggling right now? As you all know, we are facing long time in pandemic. At times got better, at times got worse. Right now, it looks in the downturn stage in many places on earth. Now, what is the cause of our shortcomings? Of all kind, pandemic or not, always. When there was no pandemic, there was all kind of sufferings. Natural disasters, war, all kind of conflict, so many things. From country to country, from continent to continent, to family, to individuals in the one family. Today's friend, tomorrow's enemy. And good thing is, today's enemy become also tomorrow's friend, sometimes. That is the one aspect of teaching of Buddha. Nothing is permanent. Everything is impermanent. So, therefore, in this, I wanted to quickly go through these few points. We are lacking the true and genuine and natural discipline and morals and ethics. Because morals and ethics are not based on something which is imposed by someone, but natural. For example, I don't want to lose anything that I have, even it is some technical, physical thing, material thing. But therefore, stealing anything that belongs to anybody is not right. The ethic comes from that. And nobody wants to be hurt. The hurting anyone with physical harm or emotional harm or verbal negative words which will make others feel hurt. So that is something which defines ethics. And we should have correct ethics. And then second is the perception. So this is a very big subject because everything runs on perception. You have your perception, I have my perception, and everybody have their perception. All Buddhists should have same perception as taught by Buddha, but individually we have so many perceptions. In individual life also, earlier we have one perception, then another perception, then another perception. Today we reach with some kind of perception, and it will definitely change in the future. But when it is improving, the change is the improving, then it is good. The improving change. But if change is not defined by improvement, just change because it suits our ego or not, then it is not right change. So therefore, this perception, something inferior perceived as a superior. For example, nobody likes to suffer, But many of us, many individuals throughout the humanity cause suffering for themselves. And sometimes causing suffering to others, then they feel good about it. It's like a revenge. And when you took revenge, and when you succeed, then it's supposed to make you happy. That is not true, because that will stay in your mind. And many people who indulge in these kind of things, they have a very hard time to sleep comfortably. So that way, perceiving suffering as happiness. And then I can go on with some individuals doing things to themselves which are causing them in long-term suffering. So I don't think I have to tell you these details, because a lot happens in everybody's family. And or if not in family, somebody that you know and maybe very dear to you also went through this. Now then, again, impermanent, but not truly perceiving it correctly, then impermanent things we perceive as a permanent. And impermanent is inevitable, whatever it is. Then when that happens, then it is devastating. We are devastated. And not only devastated, but that devastation, we lose everything that we have gained in our progress. So, of course, we should look forward, and we should plan, we should pursue something that is good, of course, but we should not think of everything that we like as a permanent. Nothing is permanent. And at the same time, everything that we don't like also is not permanent. It's also impermanent. Something that you really, really don't like, and some situation that you wish that it is a dream. It is not true. It is a bad dream. Actually, it is a bad dream. Even terrible things are just a nightmare. But it will not last forever. Nothing lasts forever. You will wake up from it. So that. And then there is no, let's say, true substance in self. But then we are selfish. And so non-existence of true self, when it is not understood, then solid understanding and solid perception of me, me, me. I like, I don't like. I want, I don't want. You know, so this way you suffer, I suffer, world suffer. And this perceiving non-existent self as a self, solid existence self. Of course, I'm here, I'm talking. You are there, you are talking. For you, you are I. For me, I am I. Of course, that much is there. But beyond that, if you use your common sense, and if you can comprehend with your cognitive ability, then there is no self. It is just some sort of perception with its own history, and that history also have many facets, and each one of the facets is interdependent with each other. And so a great master, Nagarjuna and Aryadeva, they said very clearly, there is nothing that is not interdependent, therefore there is nothing which is not emptiness. Emptiness doesn't mean empty cup. So emptiness means absolute solid existence, dualistic, is not there. It is there as an illusory manifestation, as a result of so many conditions and so many causes. Therefore, interdependent, nothing independent. Everything is interdependent. If it is a something, then it is interdependent. Now, so then something that is not very profound, but we profoundly attach to them. So that way the capacity to discriminate through wisdom what is right and what is wrong, and what is meaningful and what is not meaningful. So when that is not there, then one have to go with impulse. And so that impulse has to be based on something to do with yourself. And then that is selfishness. And anything that is involved with selfish motivation, if it's 100% selfishness, then it is 100% inferior. It is 50% selfishness, then it is 50% inferior. And if it is 50% selflessness, then it is 50% superior. So that way, superior doesn't mean a rank, but the true to yourself and true to everyone and true to the truth. So that is the definition of this superior and inferior. Now, this. And now that is about the perception. Then, of course, behavior. But if all of those things are in good order, the behavior will be in good order. A person with right perception will behave right. A person with right principle will also conduct right. So that way, then behavior will be outcome of that. Then, in this case, final is livelihood. Because when we live, we have to have a livelihood. Here, your request is how to make life meaningful. So, for life, we need livelihood. And that is a place, that is sustenance, such as food, shelter, and many other things that are involved. And in today's world, then you also have to have some kind of financial security in order to have your livelihood uninterrupted. So that way, that is very important. So we should not have inferior livelihood. We should have let's say profound livelihood. I wouldn't say superior. Why? Because it can be misunderstood. The inferior livelihood is you live or I live on the pain of others. That is wrong livelihood, inferior livelihood. My livelihood should be positive as possible. Your livelihood should be positive as possible. So, anything that you do to earn your livelihood, it should be making others happy and content and positive to the others. If you can't do that, then at least it doesn't cause suffering to the others, pain to the others. And you are not living on the cost of others' pain. And so that is a very big subject, and that pain has so many levels. And first, it is truly and let's say apparently with mindfulness and awareness that you avoid saying anything, doing anything that will cause others pain and suffering. Do your best. Of course, we cannot avoid 100%. For example, I grew up in areas where they are cultivating rice, cultivating vegetables, and even you do that, you must do that, you know. Then even you do that, you have to plow the ground, and you kill hundreds of thousands of insects, cut them into pieces, big insects, small insects. You water the field every day. You drown hundreds of thousands of insects like ants, etc., etc., and all of that. So we should not ignore it. We should not dismiss it. We should know. So when we eat a rice of bowl, we should respect it, because we got this out of so many hours of hard work for so many months by the farmers. And every day they have to kill hundreds of thousands of insects in order to have the rice. Otherwise, we will not have rice, or we will have a very bad quality rice and a very small quantity rice, because insects will eat them. So therefore, they have to do all kinds of things. And we should know that. So we at least should respect what we eat, what we wear, and what we use for our life. We cannot drink water just like that. We have to filter it. We have to boil it. And what is the definition of that? We are filtering all forms of life from the water. Because if they go in our stomach, then we will have a problem, sickness. So we have to filter it. We have to boil it. We have to get rid of them. We have to devastate them. And even their remains has to be filtered. So we have to know these things. So that way, our livelihood should be good and positive in a sort of most obvious manner, but at the same time, this kind of subtle aspect, this is subtle for most of us today because we go to the supermarket and we buy a very nice package of rice. But it doesn't come in the package. It comes from the field. And so I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. We shouldn't be guilty when we know it and we respect it and don't waste it and appreciate it. And then we sincerely pray in our own way or traditional way for the sake of all those people who worked hard and also all those beings who have to be sacrificed for getting our wonderful bowl of rice. So that is one set. And now, after these two sets that I have mentioned, then I wanted to give you a few things. Then I will conclude. It will be too long for you for this session. So, like this. We have to remember everything is impermanent. Happy or sad or good or bad or favorable or unfavorable, everything is impermanent. Then, after that, we also have to know everything is a result of so many causes and conditions. In Buddhism, it is called karma, that means action, that's a Sanskrit word. But actually, nothing comes out of nowhere. Everything comes out and happens as a result of so many causes and conditions. And anything that happens to us have ourselves involved with that cause and conditions. Of course, in the past, and many times in the present too. Superficially speaking. But if you go philosophical, then present is so much of a split second. So when we catch the present, it's already gone and it already become past. So that is also illusion, but serious illusion. And then, of course, we should have appreciation for quietness. Because we feel bored when things around us are quiet, many times. But those who goes to the mountain and appreciate the outdoor in the mountain, I think they appreciate the quietness. But many of us does not appreciate the quietness. We get bored. We have to do something. We have to hear something. We have to say something. We have to taste something. We have to feel something. So that's all right, but we have to be mindful and aware of each aspect of that. Then now, once we have the, let's say, calmness as a result of appreciating the quietness, let's give a example, maybe a little bit unfortunate situation. If somebody is given a news that you are in very big trouble, so many things went wrong, then if you go hysterical, you make it worse. So best thing at that stage should be, leave me alone and let me calm down. And then if you calm down and be quiet and look into all of those things that supposed to be a unfortunate, troublesome situation that you got yourself into. When you look at them with a calm mind, then you know how to handle them. You cannot handle them hysterically. You can handle them calmly. And also, you have to be true to yourself and true to your situation. And that's what we call, if you are in a fortunate situation, you accept it. If you are in an unfortunate situation, you accept it. Acceptance is very important. After you accept your unfortunate situation, then you can handle that situation correctly. If you don't accept, then you cannot handle that situation correctly, because in your mind it's not true. You think it is not true, then you cannot handle it truly. So it's very important. So calmness. And calmness make you clear. A calm person will be clear. Okay? So because of the time, I cannot go on. Because of the time, I cannot go on. But I was requested to talk for 1 hour. It is a little bit over 1 hour. So I end here, but all the best. So this way, your life will be meaningful. What you need to pursue is not temporary happiness, but a meaningful life. Okay. So that is matter of emphasis. Temporary happiness is okay, but if you spend all energy of this precious human life that we have got just for a temporary happiness and bliss and joy, then it will be a waste, because temporary by definition it is not everlasting, and it is definitely impermanent. So one have to enjoy life, at the same time have to know that it is not permanent, and one should have a greater purpose for your body, speech, mind than just to have a temporary pleasure. And that's all for today. I wish you all my best. And those of you who are Buddhist, I think you know these teachings. But those of you who don't consider yourself Buddhist, I respect you as a future Buddha, but don't misunderstand me. I did not say future Buddhist, because was Buddha Shakyamuni a Buddhist when he attained Buddhahood? No. We are Buddhist because we follow him. So, you are the future Buddha. Many of you are already Buddhist. Many of you will be future Buddhist, but most of you will not be future Buddhist. But future Buddha, yes. I truly believe and respect you for that. Uphold you for that. All the best. I dedicate the merit of today's teaching for the benefit of all mother sentient beings. To have meaningful life now, and then absolute liberation and freedom by awakening their inner potential, primordial potential, primordial wisdom, primordial compassion, primordial limitlessness within. Chanjub semcho rimbo che mache panam jijuru chik jeban nyamba mebaya kone kondon pewarishu.